Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be having coffee in the orchard, and we're going to be giving you a tour and an update of what's been going on. Stay tuned. All right, we're going to start off this tour with Novak Loquat tree that I have here at the corner of our driveway. Now, the area that we're living in, Novak is not a good loquat for us. It'll put on lots of blooms, lots of fruit, and then our freeze hits, and then we end up losing 95% of the fruit. And we'll end up giving, 5 or 6 loquats off this tree, but everything else goes to waste. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a loquat tree that does good for us, and this one right over here. Angelino, even through the hard freezes, will hold its fruit without damage. This has been a very good loquat tree for us. Now it doesn't bush out, at least it's not bushed out like that one over there, but it's a good looking tree overall. And we put this as a driveway because loquat is a nice decorative tree that you can put in any landscape and have edible fruit. So if you live in a homeowners association area, you can grow loquat trees as long as you live in zone 8 or below, that these trees will mature. So go ahead and consider the loquat if you live in an area where you can grow that. That's a great landscape tree. Okay, this is the best tasting citrus tree that you're ever going to find. This is called Sharanui. It's a decoupon variety. Has a nice big orange, the size of a navel orange, but it has a zipper peel on it like a satsuma does. But the flavor is the sweetest and sugar content of any citrus that you can find out there available today. And it has a very meaty texture, like a navel orange is really meaty. It's not that super juicy that you get like with a satsuma or something like that. You eat a satsuma, you get all that liquid in your mouth. But if you like a nice chewy orange with a lot of texture to it, this is the top variety that you're gonna find. And this tree is loaded up this year.
How long have you had it?
We put this one in the ground a year ago this time last year, and we didn't get any fruit off of it. But I have one over at my mom's, and she put hers in the ground at the beginning of the year. It matured the fruit, and it was okay. It's going to take several years for these to get going. So we're excited to have this in our orchard. It's loaded, but the fruit isn't going to fully develop its flavor profile until it gets to be several years in the ground. Now this apple tree right here, this is Fuji. This is the very first tree that I grafted and put in the ground here. And I've grafted several different varieties onto this. Now as you can see, Fuji is just now starting to get a few apples on it here. And then there's some up there. And then we also have these blooms that just finished blooming. So this is a later apple for our area. And we're going to go over in a minute, we're going to talk about shell apple, which those apples are getting ready to turn ripe right now. But all throughout, we're starting to get some Fuji apples. Nice little apples here and up there. This tree hasn't performed exceptionally well for us. This tree's been in the ground about 5 years, and you can see that it's only just, a little small tree here. Not exceptionally well. But while we're on the subject apples, let's go ahead and talk about this one. This is Granny Smith. This is another underperforming tree. This one's been in the ground a little over 2 years. We got a few Granny Smith apples on it right here, but it hasn't really exploded in growth. Now this is a Kiefer pear. Kiefer pear is the rootstock tree that I bought at the nursery, and I put some grafts on here. So right here we've got Southern King grafted on here and here. And I grafted Southern King on what I thought was another branch, but it was another graft that I did, Leona. So I have one little twig of Leona that has started to grow this year. So I got Southern King that I grafted here, but the Leona was grafted here, so I only had one bud, and that one bud is now grown. So we're going to probably harvest the scion wood, this winter and do something else with that. We got several pears growing. I believe these right here are kefir. Up here we have Southern Bartlett is grafted on. The graft union is right in here somewhere. So all these up here is Southern Bartlett. And right here also is Southern Bartlett.
Blight, or whatever it is.
If you notice that all throughout here, there are all these dead limbs growing. That's from fire blight. Fire blight is very common among pear trees, especially during the wet spring season. Fire blight sets in and it'll just run right through a tree and just kill all the new growth all the way back. This is something we have to deal with. We try to buy varieties that are fire blight resistant, but if you look in our decorative pear trees over there, you can just see it got hit hard with fire blight this year. A lot of dead new growth up there. But look at all these Southern Bartlett pears that we've got growing on. Now Southern Bartlett is a southern pear, but it's softer than like a sand pear, much softer than a sand pear, softer than a kefir pear. And this one almost eats like a Bartlett pear, so that's why they call it Southern Bartlett. Now also, I've got Golden Boy grafted in right here. And you can look at this graft union. So right here I got grafted in Golden Boy. Golden Boy graft union is right here. This was a nice thick piece of graft wood, scion wood that I put in right here. And I've got 3 nice little branches growing off of there. We've harvested some Golden Boy and we've went out and we've grafted onto other trees. Right here I've got a graft union of Orient pear right up through here, and I got Tennis Soy right in here. I've got Maxine here, and right here is Florida 5845 Killer Pear, and it's got some fire blight damage at the top, but that's okay. We've got plenty of other trees grafted with that. So let's move on. Now this is second year in ground. This is Ichikichi Gyro Persimmon. And last year I've had 5 or 6 persimmon on here. This year I think I only have 3. And it's doing okay. You can see the little persimmons growing right here. There's one right there, one right down there. And then there's another 1 or 2 in there somewhere. The tree is shaping up nice. Decent growth on it this year, and maybe we'll get a lot of growth on it this year. Then next year we'll have a decent persimmon harvest. Now over here is Seijo Pear, or Seijo Persimmon. Seijo Persimmon is one of the sweetest varieties you'll find in the persimmon family. It makes a cylindrical type persimmon. It's not gigantic, but it's a decent sized persimmon. It's an astringent variety. They get about this big around, about that long. It's a good pear for fresh eating. Persimmon. It's a wonderful persimmon to have in a home orchard. If you like persimmons, this is a must-have. You definitely want to add this one as a variety in your collection. Now, real quick, we're going to hit this up. I did an entire video on this last week. We haven't published the video yet. Be looking for our graft of the plum tree, and I did one here, and then there's going to be another one over here also of the golden plum. Look for those in a separate video. They haven't been released as of today. We'll discuss heavily what we did there and why. Bartlett pear. We put Bartlett in the ground 5 years ago. Hasn't done anything. It's a decent looking tree. We've got these bagworms that are in here, and I already took care of them, eradicated them out of there. But Bartlett doesn't seem to want to do very well for us here where we're at, and I wasn't surprised by that, but I was going to give it a try anyway. And if it don't straighten up and do something real soon, we're probably just going to cut it and graft over it and reuse this root system that's already established. Same story with the Moonglow pear that we have over here. Now this is Golden Plum, and we've got a whole nother video. I don't want to go extensively in what we've got going on with Golden Plum, but you notice that we got some good looking plums on this. This is actually Gyro. It's a yellow plum. And it looks like I got a little sting damage from insects, some bruising or something going on with just a few of them. But overall, this is a top performing plum. It likes to load up. Looks like that one's starting to turn ripe. So plums are going to be getting ready really soon. But look for this one in a future video also, where we grafted over the main stalk of the tree. This is Loquat pear. Took some fire blight damage right in here. I need to come out here and cut all that off and trim it up. But this tree's done really well for us. First year we had it in the ground, it loaded out with pears. We've got a few on it this year, but fire blight got most of the pear blooms that we had on here and suffered a lot of damage. But you know, for a 2-year-old tree, 4 or 5 pears, that's all we're really looking for anyway. But if you're in the same zone we have, look at Loquat. This is a good soft pear. If you like a pear that you can eat fresh right out of hand and it's really soft and you don't have to slice into it, Loquat is a really good one. Contender peach. Contender hasn't done anything for us. This is a 1,000 chill hour peach. It was sold to me as a yeah, it might grow, and then I wish I'd have never bought it because it hasn't done well. They got the rootstock growing from the roots here, just because Contender don't want to push growth. We're going to graft over this, and we're going to change this tree over to something else and probably just get rid of that. We've had that in the ground for this is the 3rd year, and it's just not done anything. We've got much better performing peaches. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and talk about our peaches. We had Florida Best here. We've done a video on Florida Best where we grafted over. We changed over Florida Best because it's a 150 chill hour peach. We get 500 chill hours here. This thing loaded out with blooms in January before we even had our first freeze. And so the first freeze that we got killed all the peaches. And it did that year and every year. It just kept doing that. So I got frustrated with it. I left a branch on right here. We whacked it, and then about 2 months ago I put some scion wood in and did a bark graft, did a whole video, and look at here, we've got 5 or 6 foot of growth right here on these brand new 2-month-old scions. They're looking pretty good. And this is Louisiana variety, Feliciana, and then I got Georgia Belle back here. You can check out that video if you want to see how we did that. This is the Louisiana variety, Feliciana. This is an absolutely wonderful peach for us here. We've got peaches on it all throughout. And we had a bit of a drought, and I think some of the peaches kind of aborted, but we've got a few on there. And this is a very good melting flesh peach. When you eat it, you have to back up and hold it out, or juice will run right down your face with this one. This was a free stone, which means when you pull it away, it just pulls off the seed. The seed easily separates from the fruit. But yeah, the more I look up in here, the more I see more and more peaches. And this will be getting ripe within the month. We probably got 20 or 30 good peaches in there. Now here's another variety that will be getting mature around the same time as Feliciana, and this is Sam Houston. This is a Texas peach. And this one is a 1-year-old tree. We put it in the ground last year. I got nice good growth on this. It's already got set peaches right on it. This is another one that's freestone. And we're really excited about harvesting peaches off of this one. This is going to be another good one for us. Back to the apple tree real quick. This is Gala. Gala is starting to set a few apples. It's got a few blooms that are finishing up. Right here are some blooms. I don't know if they got pollinated or not because they're falling off. I've done some grafting on this. I've also got horse grafted onto it. But we've got a few apples in here. This is another one of those trees that we've planted in this area that has not done very well as far as growth for us. Right here's some blooms, look at that. Apples are just now blooming. So this will be a late apple variety. We'll be harvesting these later on in the fall. That works. As long as this thing starts pushing growth, this would be a decent tree for us. Not the best, but it would do all right. This is an almond. The name of this almond is All in One. I got good growth on it this year. It's not said any almond nuts yet. And we're gonna give it some time.
It bloomed.
It bloomed, but we knew going into this, planting this, that this is gonna be a long shot to try to get any almonds. Michelle wanted to give it a try. We're gonna give it a try. We're gonna give it a decent chance. It's not taking up a lot of space in the orchard. There's not like another almond variety we can graft over it with anyway.
It's pretty too.
This is a white grapefruit, Duncan. We put this one out here in the ground last year, and it is absolutely loaded with grapefruits. We're pretty excited about what this one's going to perform for us. This is supposed to be a nice, sweet grapefruit. A lot of seeds in Duncan, though. We put our Meyer Lemon out over here. Just a few months ago, we relocated it. So it's just getting settled in, not much any growth on there. So maybe next year when we give you a tour, we'll see some improvements on that. This is our Pluot, guys. Check out our Pluots. Now, this is called Spring Satin. It loaded up with blooms. We got 7 or 8 good Pluots on it. We got nice growth out of this. It's probably 10 or 12 foot tall. It's only been in the ground probably 4 or 5 years now. But one of the grafts that I did, I've got it grafted in right here, is Flavor Grenade. Look at what Flavor Grenade did. It absolutely loaded up. That one graft has got probably 15 Pluots on it, that one little skinny limb. So we're going to try to harvest some scion wood. We're going to probably set this one out and see what it does on its own. Now right here we've got Flavor Rich. Flavor Rich has got 2 Pluots. I didn't even know those were on there. So we got 2 more Pluots that are coming ready. Spring Satin, which is what the base of this plant is, the Pluots have already come and gone. We finished eating the last Pluot last week. So we put different varieties on here, obviously maturing at different times and looking to extend our harvest that way. I've also got some Plu Aries, which is a plum cherry cross right in here, and it has got a nice tall limb, but it hasn't set any fruit for us. So that's okay, we're just gonna give it some more time. Then I've just discovered that there's another Pluot right in here. I don't see a tag, so I don't know what variety that is. That may be from a graft that I did and then the tag fell off. So that'll be just unknown for right now. All right, here's the star of the show. This is Shell Apple. Shell Apple was planted the same time as our other apples. I've discussed this tree in depth on other videos, but this is only a 5-year-old tree. The tree was developed right here in Escambia County of Alabama, up in Appleton, which is where it got the town got its name from, was the development of this tree. There used to be thousands of apple trees from the 1800s back up there. Shell apple blooms at the end of winter. So we've got these nice pretty apples, and it won't be long. Our apples will be maturing on this tree. Apples, I've seen much bigger apples than the 3 that I'm showing you right here off this tree. So it makes a full-size apple here in South Alabama. And we probably have 15 to 20 apples on this tree this year. We've had more last year, but the tree absolutely performs wonderful here. I'm very proud of the performance of this tree. And I like it so much, we're going to be planting others throughout the property. This is Warren Pear. Look how outside of these worms that I've already eradicated. This is a beautiful tree. Nice shape on this tree. It's never bloomed or provided any pears for us. We knew Warren Pear is difficult to get to fruit anyway. If it don't do something by next year, we're going to probably look at changing this one over to something that will do good for us and reutilize the root stock that's already in the ground there. This is a Jujube. Jujubes are still blooming. We've got some Jujubes right here that are growing. These will probably start maturing about another month. This is a thorny tree, so if you put a Jujube out in your yard, put it in an area where you don't mind it being thorny somewhere. But look how nice and glossy these leaves are. Beautiful waxed leaves. Jujubes are good as a alternative to a date. If you let them fully mature, shrivel up and start drying up, you can eat them like a date. Outside of that, if you eat them after they just turn brown, you can eat them like an apple. And it's okay. I don't prefer them that way. I like them more as a date. But this is a decent tree to have in your collection. Now, moving on. It's our first year having blueberries over here in this area. We have a high bush variety here called Fathering. It did very well for us this year, and I didn't know Southern High Bush would do as well as it did. Then over here we've got Premier. Premier did well. We've got Titan. Titan is currently loaded up with blueberries. Now, it's got a long way to go before it starts providing those big quarter-sized blueberries, obviously, but we've had this tree for a while. When we moved it over here, that's just now starting to do anything. It didn't like the last location it was in. We got, some people call it Alapaha, some people call it Alapaha. It's an Indian name. I'm not sure which way is the right way to say it, the first way or the second way. Then over here is the sister to Titan. This is Crewer. Crewer is another one of those that have quarter-sized blueberries, but it's got a long way to go before it starts providing those big blueberries. But we've got a few on it this year. We've been able to sample it, and it's a decent blueberry. It's good flavor. It's not exceptional. It's not by far the best blueberry I've ever tasted, but it's a good blueberry. Right here is our nectarines. This is Sun Racer. Sun Racer is a low chill hour. It only requires about 200 chill hours and it's ready to bloom. And it did the same thing as our peach over there, Florida Best. It blooms right before the hard freeze. But this one seemed to hold its blooms even after the hard freeze. And we got a decent harvest of nectarines this year. We probably had, what, 40 or 50 nectarines on the tree. And I think bugs ate it more than we ate the fruit, but hey, at least we were getting nectarines off of it. This is Methley Plum. We got plums off of it last year, not this year. It better shape up or it's going to ship out. We had Smith of Mississippi apple tree right here. Sally came along, blew our tree over, and we lost the tree. The rootstock started pushing growth up from the roots that were left in the ground. So I took a piece of scion wood that I saved from the tree after it blew over, and I grafted onto it. So we've got a nice little start of Smith of Mississippi that's going to grow there, and we're going to reestablish that tree because that's another really good performing tree in our area. It does just as well as the shell of Alabama tree that I just showed you. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tour. That concludes this week in the orchard. Come back next Saturday and join us for coffee in the fig orchard. And we'll go through all the figs that we've got going on over there and what our future plans are. And I'm going to talk more about our fig collection. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if this is our first time with us. And we invite you along. And And don't forget, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. And together, we're Flumenton famous.